Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this episode, I will be continuing, obviously, the Battle of Shiloh into the woods, and we've got Hindman's second activation, even though he's not even marked with the first activation counter. All his brigades are. So that's where we're up to. So bring up the sequence of play. So we've had the AM draw. I could now change some brigade orders if I wish. I change them from advance to attack and then do some brigade coordination. And I get them all activated at the same time. I don't think I need to do that as yet. So we'll go straight to the action phase. And remember, I've got to keep a continuous line. What's a continuous line? Why do you need that? Refer to some of the earlier episodes, but I will probably mention a little bit in detail here. Now, activating with Hindman is Gladden's brigade down the bottom here. Now, this is where I didn't think beyond, did I? Gladden's is part of Bragg's corps, and I've now looked at the maps. Bragg's corps moved to the right of Hardy's corps to be positioned around this sector of the front. Yeah, I started moving it to the left. So Gladden has got to come back at some point, but he's activating at the present moment for the 6 a.m. turn with, I'm going to get the names right, Hardy's corps, but I will eventually start moving him to the right, no, to the left, as you look at the screen. Okay, so I'm going to start actually this activation with Shaver and move him to where I want him to be, and then get Gladden to fill in, because there's got to be a continuous front. Didn't say the continuous front couldn't be sort of back here, as long as it's adjacent to a unit of Shaver's brigade. Yeah, sort of compensating. It's like Gladden's received one plan last night, and Bragg's gone the completely other way. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to be putting, I think it's Polk's first corps over here, which, again, historically, that was where I'm putting Bragg's. Will that make any difference? Will it slow down the Confederates? Probably a little bit. But we play these games to learn, don't we? So, do we? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to zoom in a little bit as I do each of these brigades, because I like to get the nitty-gritty of the terrain, so I get my head around it. And as I say, we're starting with Shaver. Okay, so looking at this regiment, 3 Confederate. Is that because it's an amalgamation of quite a few different units? Don't know. Seems strange because you've got the 6 Arkansas, Tennessee. Why is that one called Confederate? If anyone knows, please put it in the comments. I mean, I suppose I could do a little bit of research, but hey ho. Anyway, they're going to cross the stream. Now, the stream, and looks like, let's just remove the units. Okay, hold on to do that again. Yeah, the stream goes around there. There's a gully here, which increases the cost as well. Horrible terrain, but hey ho. Right. So he's crossing there, which is across the gully, into the field, and across the stream. That's quite an expensive little move in his own right, because the gully is +1 and the stream is +1. That's +2. There's a little G on the gully. What does that mean? If it's a gully or ridge has 3 or more lines to total treat, no, it's only got one line. There's only one contour, so it's not a steep ravine, but it does slow him down. And he's going into or crossing a wood, so that's 1.5. So that's a total of 3.5 for that hex. I think that's correct, isn't it? So it's 1.5 for the hex, +2 for the string, it's 3.5. Okay, but now he's in the Say's cotton field. Okay, so that will now be 4.5, 5.5. These only having one contour is classed as a gradual slope, which is no cost. So that was 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. So he's, nothing is a half, so that's where he ends up. I mean, this trail, farm lane, is half other terrain and hex minimum of 1. So that's as far as he's going. 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. Okay. Right. So moving the 6th Arkansas into here, that's not a gully. So he's going to be 1.5 for the woods, plus 1 for the stream. So that's 2.5, plus 1.5, 2.5, so that's 4. He could move one more forward. 4, 5.5. Okay. Now, that looks like a ford crossing the stream there. So what does a ford do? Does it actually lower it? I'm looking at stream ford. A stream ford exists wherever a farm lane crosses a stream, and that's got 0. But there's still a gully there. That's going to be +1. At least they're not playing the stream +1. Okay, so crossing from there to there, 1.5 for the woods, +1 for, so that's 2.5. That gets into 4. 2.5 plus 1.5 is 4. 5.5. Now, he's moved within 2 hexes of this unit, and they have a reaction move if that occurs. It says that this is done similar to how cavalry would react. When an enemy unit moves to within 2 hexes, detachments may reaction move 1 to 2 hexes, similar to cavalry. See state normal book. However, there's no DRM for entering a non-clear, non-field hex. So I've just read the SR. What does SR? Standard rules. There we go. Standard rules, SR. So they could retreat, but it would require a UDD. And we know that UDDs are a little bit nasty, especially for the Union at this time. They're getting a +1 modifier. But do they really want to stay there? Because, yes, these guys have got one more activation to come. So these. If these get an activation, you can't move adjacent because they're under advance orders, but doesn't mean their orders couldn't change. So it's a swings and roundabout situation. Or as the Clash would say, do we stay or do we go now? If we stay, it could be trouble. If we go, it could be double. I think we're going to risk it for a biscuit. They're going to remain there because, yeah, retreating 2 hexes and doing a UDD and they fail it, they disorder. Ooh. Yeah, let's stay there, see what happens. Okay. Carrying on with Shaver's brigade, he's going to cross into there for well, actually no. Let's have him go into there. So that's 1.5 plus 1 for the stream, 2.5 plus the hexes, 4. We could move along the trail for 1. Farm lane. Farm lane. Minimum of, wow, but they've got to be in road order, march order for it. Take advantage. These movement charts do like their little notes, don't they? Farm lane has gone in. I think that's for artillery. Half of the terrain hex minimum. Yeah, but to get advantage of it, you've got to be in march stacking, which they're not. Okay, they've got 12 increments. So, okay, 1.5, 4. 5.5. That's as far as they go. All right, so their artillery. How many steps have we got of artillery here? Oh, hell, there's two batteries. That's maximum stacking. But okay. I could break it down, but they're actually moving by battery. So there's going to be, and we're on the road. That's 1. Now, into this hex here. Artillery crossing the stream at a ford. Is +1. There's also a gully +2, so it's +3. So it's 1 to that hex, a half because it's on the road, but plus another 3. So it's 1.5 plus 3, that's 4.5 to there. Okay. Do we want to move it any further forward? 4.5 to there. Remember, I'm doing this by battery. I could break it down the stack. So let's break down the stack a little bit now. Because I want to get the guns. Miller. Hold on. Breaking this down incorrectly. Oh, Miller ABC and Civets. Okay, so we'll move Miller's artillery into there. So we know. I've lost count. That's why I got to do the typo there. Okay, so starting here, 1 battery at a time. So that's 1, 2, plus 3 is 5.5 to there. Okay, now artillery can move along the road as long as these guys weren't in road order, which they're not. So I believe that's correct. Let me check. Okay, so the artillery can move through using that road. Let's just, because that unit's not using the road because it's not in march order stacking. If I'd have put that unit with bits of it behind it, because the main march order stacking is 7 strength points per hex. So the artillery can move through on the road there. And that means this other battery will do the same to there. Do we change the facing of the artillery? Because at the present moment, no, I think we're happy with that. Yeah. Okay. Any more of Shaver's brigade? No. So we'll now move Shaver up himself. And we'll have him sitting on the road. And we'll change his A1 activation. So we'll delete that and give him an A2. There he goes. Oh, this little advanced marker just behind him. Okay, so now I'm going to move Gladdens, and I don't want them to be moving too far over here because eventually I want them to come back and join with us. So I think we'll extend the line to here, but that's about it. So moving that in that case, that's 1.5, 3, 4.5. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. 1.5, 3, 4.5. No, I don't want to move too many that way. Okay. Now that's crossing. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll cross it there. So it's not crossing the gully. So that's 1.5 plus 1 for the stream, 2.5, 3.5, no, 4. 5. Yeah, I think that will do there. Okay, so then we've got 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. Actually 5, but yeah, you know what I mean. Okay. 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. Okay. And Gladden, we're going to put there. Delete his A1. Give him a little A2, show he's had his second activation. Give him his little advance marker, and then his artillery. And I'm going to move his artillery aren't under the continual line stipulation. So let's move him a little bit to the way. That's 3, and that's 3. Double check that. I moved artillery for a little while. Artillery was yet is 3. That's 3. Six. It's still got to be under Gladden's command range, which it isn't at present. But okay. So let's do that there. So that's Gladden done. Let's remove all those move markers and moving along the front. Whoops. Okay. We have wood. Now they got to be adjacent to they can't be adjacent to the artillery. I mean they can, but they've got to have someone in this hex to be adjacent to Shaver's brigade. So over to you to 55 Tennessee. That's your job. So let's see. These little gullies. All right. So that's 2.5 to there. Plus 1.5 is 3. That's 4. Crossing the stream is 5. That's pretty far, as far as he's going to be able to go. But he does continue the continuous front over to the 3rd Mississippi. Okay, so there's 2 units in there now. Yeah, 12 stacking. I'm going to be moving them separately. Therefore, 1.5. So open, yeah, 1.5, 2.5, stream 3.5. 1.5, 3.5, 4.5. Okay. This guy goes 1 for the stream, 1 for the clear, so that's 2. 3, 4. Which then means he could react move back, but he won't. under the same reason why this one didn't at the moment. Okay. 1, 2, 3, stream 4, 5. One and a half, 2, 3, 4, 5. One and a half, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 4 and a half, 5 and a half. You little dinky unit. And wood now. Okay. This is where I've got to start thinking. We want these guys to be in his command range. Shame in mind, we need to move a little bit more over. So Wood's going to go to about, he's only got command range of 5. Yeah, that should be fine. I can fine tune that at some point. Let's delete that A1 and give him an A2. And his little advance marker. Now, last time I forgot to move his cavalry and his artillery. So I think we're going to do that now. Okay. But Chalmers is blocking the road. The artillery's fine. Cavalry, oh, it's only one increment, but the cavalry isn't. Well, let's move the artillery first. Okay, because it's on the road. So that's 1. Oops. 2. 3. This is the only place it can cross. So 3 plus stream, 4. The gully, 5. Plus the half of the road, 5 and a half. I'm just clear the train, 5 and a half. To go into that hex, another 3. So that's as far as he can go. Now the cavalry. Free-facing change. Into there 4. Now it's crossing the boundary there. Build boundary for cavalry, that's 2. Clear is field. Yeah, it's 1 for cavalry, so that's 2. 3. 4, 5. Now he's now on the road. Definitely within stacking limit in advance. Well, there's only 1 of him. So that's 1. 6, 7. He's going to move through the field. Okay. 8, 9. Is that right? So 7. Tell you what. 8, 9. There we go. Following along that river there. And that's wood. Done. Over to Claiborne. What to do with Claiborne? Well, as I say, I'm wanting these guys to move. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay. So we've got Rearsfield, Spains, and Barnes. So these are going to be doing the offensive this way. So I'll take that. Okay. So they're coming this way towards Spain's Field. And we're going to have First Corps come this way. And Bragg's Corps continuing upwards to then fill the line along there. That's the plan. Will it work? I don't know. Okay. With that in mind, let us move Claiborne's. This is awful terrain, isn't it? Absolutely awful. But we know that going in. Let's zoom back in for Claiborne's activation. So this here is the furthest back. So let's see how far he can get. 1.5. 3. Okay. It said it crosses a hex side that's wooded. It's classed as a boundary, not open. So I'm going to count that as 4.5, 5.5. If that's wrong, let me know in the comments. And if you let me know in the comments, can you also do the like and subscribe? That all helps the channel out. There we go. A little bit of advertisement as Claiborne's brigade moves forward. This unit. 1.5, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. 1, 2, whoops, 3.5, 5. 1, 2, 3.5, 5. 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. And then 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 5. 5. Yeah. Claiborne. I'm going to have him on there with his little advance marker and his second activation marker. And then Hindman. Now he's got quite a restrictive command range, especially if you want to keep Schaefer under his command. So I'm going to move him with Wood and give him his little A2 activation. I'm planning for the next turn. And Claiborne's artillery. Okay, so onto the road, sorry, the trail, that's 3. Okay, then the farm trail or farm lane is 1. Half, no, it's half other terrain in hex, which for artillery will be 3, so it's 1.5. So that's 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. Okay. I believe that's everybody. Yep, that looks like it. I can't see anything else. If I've missed it, well, then I've missed it for a biscuit. Okay, so let's remove all the move markers and draw the next chit. That goes there. Where's the hat? Where's the kepi? Sometimes. All right, let's just bring the kepi up. There we go. So let's move Hindman into there and draw the next chit. Flip. Clark. Ooh. Clark, he's coming from off board. We will do him in the next activation. So let's bring it back to me up top. Okay, so the Confederates moving as fast as they can through the open woods there. Not much really else to say. We're moving through the terrain. I'm looking at it in detail. I think it will only really start to manifest the problems once we actually start getting seriously engaged, which won't be this turn. I hope it's been okay. If I've made any obviously blunders with the terrain, please let me know in the comments. That'll be much appreciated. And next turn or next video, we'll be going into stuff arriving from off board as reinforcements. But until next time, play games, have fun, buy internet,